Good evening, welcome to A Foreigner in the Philippines. Well, the comments seem, I'm not completely optimistic because we've had an on-off situation on the comments in the past. But it does seem like the comments are now enabled. Now, I want to put a few things to rest here. One thing is that now that the comments are back on, we are suffering the presence of the trolls. Sorry, that's what they are, and they're there to do nothing more than just make trouble and upset people. So you can tell how they do that by looking at there's a covert nastiness about them, and they're not seeking to better anything. So here's the message for them: you're gone. And I look very closely at all of the comments, especially now that we have had a period, an unpleasant period for us, because we actually enjoy having the comments, and possibly more than a lot of other channels, your comment is likely to receive a response, and a response that is equal, hopefully, to your comment and how good or intelligent or productive it is. So what have the naysayers been doing? They've been saying that we disabled the comments. Now, it's only, I have to go for a second. Dog, stop. Sometimes I think that the dogs have hidden cameras in the house. See what I mean? As soon as you start talking, they start barking. Right, but anyway, where was I? A lot of the negative comments have been that we, for some strange reason, got rid of the comments ourselves. Now, this flies in the face of the fact that it is common knowledge that YouTube have disabled the comments on hundreds, possibly thousands of channels. It's not just ours. Now, we read out the letter that I got. I got a letter, and cut a long story short, what it said was that we are taking this very, very seriously because there have been bad off-color comments made on videos with children, images of children featured. So, in other words, if you had a kid of any number, kids of any number in your videos, you were likely to have your comments disabled. Now, a lot of extremely family-oriented channels also had their comments disabled. I was told I won't make a comment on channels that I know about, but another sub said that there was one channel which is all about the work and the projects of a man who is a mechanic and a clever guy, and just occasionally his young girl of I'm thinking 7 or 8 years old may walk into the camera shot, nothing more than that, and yet he has had his comments disabled. Now, there were a few accusations. Now, boy, if I've learned anything in the last 18 months, it is that people form accusations and allegations on nothing more than their opinion, and then they allege that something is true, and they do it as if it's fact. And if anything could be seen to be wrong, it is the idea that we have personally disabled the comments, because, as I say, we actually enjoy the comments. Now, The only thing that I can think of that comes to mind here is that we don't allow nasty comments. Now, what's the difference between a critical comment and something that's nasty? If somebody disagrees with what we do, and God, I've said this so many times, if somebody disagrees with what we say, if I say that blue is the best color in the world and you go on there, well, I'm sorry, but I have to disagree because I think that red is the... I don't have any problem on that. I learned a long time ago, not just 18 months ago, I learned a long time ago that I don't know everything. This was a terrific relief because then you can actually say, in my opinion, I'm not sure whether this is true, but it's my opinion and I have the feeling that this is true. Take it or leave it. It releases you from trying to be an Encyclopedia Britannica. And once you're released from that, you can actually state your opinion. Now, in this morning, before 5, or let me say around 5 or 6 a.m., we had already blocked 10 people who did nothing more than rant and rave against us. Now, people have their opinion, and they may indeed think that I am the ugliest, oldest, self-righteous person in history, and they may indeed be right. Here's the point, is that it just happens to be our channel. It's Beth and my channel that we set up to simply talk about our life from our viewpoint. Now, all that I've ever said about anything that's going on is that here's one way of looking at it. Whether you agree with that is or not is fine by me. If you want to get on the computer and say, Terry, I really think you're wrong. You know, you're way wrong on that. I don't have any problem with that. If you get on the computer with your poisoned fingertips on and tell me what a blundering idiot and how stupid I am and why don't I shut my mouth, you're gone. And Beth got rid of an email that she said was this long, just venting on what she or I are like. Now, here's another tip: if you're into doing the long, hateful comments or emails or even Messenger, if you're into doing those long, hateful ones, here's a tip: 3 lines and you're gone. That's how it works. 3, maybe 4, if you're real clever, maybe even 5, and then you're gone. So anybody doing the nasty, you get one chance and then you're gone. If in doubt, you're gone. That's how it works. So now that comments are back on, courtesy of YouTube, we look forward to hearing those comments which are not necessarily in agreement with everything that we say, but in an amicable accord with some sense of harmony, so that if I meet you in the street tomorrow, I'll be fine with that. You know, and I don't see what's wrong with that as an idea. As I've said before about our feel-good policy, is that every time I used to, here's a tip in fact, if you want to actually just feel a degree better, if you just want to feel a little bit happier, stop looking at the evening news. stop reading the papers for a little while and you will notice that you feel a heck of a lot happier. Right, now one of the comments, it was an email, one of the emails that I got, the man said that he had seen one of the videos in which I talked about relocating, the do's and don'ts of relocating to the Philippines. And it wasn't that he said anything nasty, and he didn't get blocked, but he said, I think that you didn't go into how a person keeps safe, you didn't go into this, you didn't go into that, and you know, he's probably right for him. Now, when I did my do's and don'ts, if you look at it, if you've seen more than one or two videos, you'll know that I actually don't believe that there is any real sense of security to be had. If you are a person that is afraid, you're going to be afraid. No matter, you could have an army of policemen surrounding you in a bulletproof car and you will still be afraid. And I don't see any way around that without changing the way that you think. And so, do I go into heavy self-protection? Well, you should be carrying a taser, and if that's not legal, then you should be carrying pepper spray. And as another way of doing it, you should take up either stick fighting or karate. That would probably be a good idea. So buy yourself a wooden man and go into heavy training. And that might well be something that's real to you. Now, when I first came out here, a certain neighbour told me about staying safe. You could carry a spoon, because a spoon is not a lethal weapon. Now, you can't say, I have a small knife here, and this is just one. I carry this knife around. It's not for slicing and dicing people. It's just when I need to undo something, I can cut the string, and it's only that big, and it's not one of those things where you go flick and now you're ready to cut the life out of somebody. I don't feel in danger. What can I tell you about that? Sir, what can I tell you about staying safe when you have all of the dangers from which you need to be held safe? So, can I tell you what it's like to walk down the street and know that you are covered in every way? That, like my neighbour said, you pepper spray, get pepper spray, get a short piece of bamboo that's maybe 2 feet long, and you can do this. If you walk along by yourself, you can pick up a rock and hold a rock, and then when somebody threatens you, you can hurl that rock as hard as you can at the person's centre. And there are all of these ways of feeling safe, and they're alien to me. I can't advise you on those because they don't seem real to me. Now, in our area, there have been people who have been killed. They're usually involved in some way in the underbelly, what I call the underbelly of life in the Philippines. Life in the Philippines, you can find the underbelly very easily. You go to the bars. I know that there are wonderful bars. We go to the Vidasto, and the Vidasto you can have a beer, and at one time, I think, I haven't heard it for a while, you could have a beer and you could get a little buzz on, and then you could try your hand at karaoke to the absolute discomfort of everybody else, probably. And I'm not saying that everybody who has a beer is going to be a problem to you. What I'm saying is that after 25 years as a professional musician working in places where alcohol is always served, I've seen more trouble and more discord and more upset and more lightning fights just erupting than I ever want to see for the rest of my life. So now I stay away from those places. That's my way of staying safe. We don't go out on the road at night. Is that because we think that we'll be robbed? Actually, it's not. It's because I think that somebody might crash into us, or we might crash into them, because they're driving along the road which is totally unlit and they don't have any lights on. So the likelihood of you running up the rear end of someone is quite real, and the likelihood of you overtaking into complete darkness, which normally would mean that there was nothing coming the other way, that's a shock waiting for you, because a motorcycle coming the other way with no lights on will only appear when it's too late. So you can be in trouble. I can tell you how to stay safe on those situations. Don't drive at night. And I meet many expats who say exactly the same thing. So, back to a feel-good channel. Back to monitoring as we have always done. We monitor for nasty comments. And if we have a borderline case of where someone seems to be getting a little bit testy and nasty, we wait and see, and then if it looks like, as I've said before, is something an event or is it a trend? And if it turns out that it wasn't an event, it wasn't a one-off thing where they had a bad hair day, it was a trend that they seem to be going through, we wish you well, we wish you bon voyage, and on your way, don't let the door hit you in the butt on your way out. It's just the way that we feel. My way of putting it for me, and for personal comments which are made nastily about me, is I don't wear a t-shirt with a target on it. Why would anybody start a channel and do that? So, we're done on that. Thanks for looking in. This is a foreigner in the Philippines. Bye for now.